Hey friend, welcome back to Chronic Health Solutions. If you are running on empty, grabbing cup after cup of coffee, or feeling like no amount of sleep is enough, then today's episode is for you. We are going to be talking about natural energy boosters that don't rely on caffeine, supplements, or quick fixes. These are going to be simple strategies that will help your body to create real, sustainable energy, even while managing chronic illness and exhaustion. So grab your favorite cup of tea and let's get into it. Welcome to Chronic Health Solutions. If you are more than just a tired mom, I'm talking trying to make it through the day without crashing by noon, you're not alone. I'm Ashley, a wife, mom, and certified health coach. I've been where you are, battling chronic health symptoms such as brain fog, joint pain, and fatigue that made me wonder if I'd ever feel like myself again. After uncovering root causes like stress, poor sleep, and hormone imbalance, I found simple health routines to feel better, one habit at a time. Keeping up with your kids is not impossible. Pop in your earbuds and take a break from the chaos. It's you time. All right, so if what I was describing earlier sounds like you, then I understand, because chronic symptoms or chronic illness can make energy feel like the most elusive thing in the world. Like this thing that we are always striving for, but it's just constantly out of reach. And for years, I was the mom who needed coffee just to survive. I mean, I had 4 kids in 3.5 years. So to some degree, part of that was just sleep deprivation. But also, really, as my body was struggling so much with everything that I had gone through, I found myself that I was relying on coffee. And what I realized was it was actually increasing anxiety and my ability to sleep at night because the caffeine was keeping me awake at night. So I would just continue to take in the coffee, trying to keep myself awake in the afternoon, knowing and just feeling guilty because I knew that it might make me crash later. And also I knew that I probably wouldn't be able to sleep as well, but then just feeling like I had no choice because I needed to be able to stay awake to take care of my kids. And I was hitting that afternoon time and feeling like I could not. What I did not realize was that true energy isn't about pushing harder or taking more supplements or drinking more caffeine. It's about supporting your body's natural rhythms, calming your nervous system, and then choosing habits that are going to fuel your body instead of drain it. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Okay, so like I shared earlier, I've had those times where I'm just constantly exhausted, no matter whatever energy hack or stimulant or whatever it is that I've tried to keep myself awake. And then, I would try these supplements that were supposed to help with energy. And while I do love, I'm not against supplements. We do take supplements in our family and I love them. I think they have a time and a place. But I also think if we can really work on supporting our body's energy levels naturally and then supplementing with anything else on top of that, then that to me is the way to go. But, I was taking so many supplements that I was feeling overwhelmed by the amount that I was trying to keep up with. Or then, trying a detox or this type of quick fix to help boost my energy. And then, despite trying all of these things, and while some of them did help sometimes, it was really hard to stick with. That was the problem. Nothing really stuck for me. But what I noticed was whenever I started focusing on like these very small, just natural shifts or habits, things like gentle movement or making sure that I was staying well hydrated, calming my nervous system, that's whenever I began to notice a difference. And the thing for me was that this difference felt sustainable. And it obviously, most of these don't cost anything, which is amazing because not only was it sustainable for me to stick with, but also it was affordable. And what I noticed was my energy levels had started to level out. And then those mid-afternoon crashes that I was talking about earlier, they weren't hitting me as hard. And you know what I mean. If you have had them, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's the kind where your eyes are heavy, your brain is in a fog, and you're just reaching for that extra cup of coffee, trying to make it through to dinner. But then, of course, like I said earlier, the late caffeine is going to keep you wired at night, and then the cycle is just going to repeat again. It's exhausting, and honestly, it doesn't have to be that way. That's why we want to talk about this today. Whenever I made those shifts, I wasn't magically cured or anything like that, but I did begin to feel more energetic, and what I also noticed was I felt more joyful. I felt happier. I felt less drained and less irritable, which makes sense because when we're tired, we are more likely to be irritated, or at least I am. I feel like I have a shorter fuse whenever I'm very, very tired. And really, the goal is that we want to feel like ourselves again. We want to have joy in how we show up for our family. Okay, so let's talk about 5 different natural energy boosts that you can do that, again, are no supplements, no coffee, nothing like that. Okay, and some of these I've talked about before, and I'm going to keep talking about them because they are so simple and so important. Number 1, start your morning with natural sunlight. Okay, within 30 minutes of waking up, step outside or sit near a sunny window. Light is going to help to reset your circadian rhythm, which of course is our sleep-wake cycle. It's also going to help to balance cortisol levels, which is that stress hormone, and also melatonin, which is that hormone we use for sleep. And that's going to help to regulate your energy levels and also help you to sleep better at night. So try to soak in 5 to 10 minutes a day, especially if you can do it in the morning, that's even better. If you can get out directly in the sun, that is best. I like to have as much skin as possible exposed to also be soaking in that vitamin D. But even if it's just sitting on your porch or you have to sit by a window while you're taking or drinking your morning tea, one main thing to make sure is that you're not having any kind of glasses, sunglasses, reading glasses, anything like that on when you're looking. And don't look directly at the sun, but as you're looking around, those rays are going to be hitting your eyes, and that's very important. You don't want to have anything covering your eyes. Okay, number 2, hydrate first thing in the morning. Fatigue and just exhaustion can often be a sign of dehydration, and it's something that we don't always think about. If you can try to get in around 16 ounces of water first thing in the morning when you wake up, that can be a really solid start to your day. You could also, if you want, add in a pinch of sea salt for electrolytes, or you could add in some lemon for flavor. One thing that I really want to say is drinking water before you have like your coffee or your tea can give your brain a really good boost. I try to get 16 ounces of water first thing in the morning when I take my thyroid medication. And I've just made this little rule for myself that I cannot have any type of food or coffee until I finish that water. And for me, of course, I have to wait a certain length of time before eating or drinking anything else anyway, so it works well for me. But it's almost like a reward for drinking the water. And like I said, it just gives me this really simple, basic habit, but it's going to help my day to start feeling more hydrated, more alert, and then just a little bit more clear-headed. All right, number 3 is going to be mini movement breaks. So like we've said before, you do not have to work out. If you're physically not able to, that's totally okay. But just get your blood moving with something like a gentle stretch. It could be a short walk if you're able. It could be walking in place. It could be 10 minutes on a vibration plate. It can be any kind of simple movement that you enjoy. And I think it's super important to make sure that it is movement that you enjoy. Find what it is that you want to do because that's what you will continue to do. Movement is going to increase oxygen flow to the brain, and it's also going to release feel-good hormones, which are going to help to reduce fatigue. So if you can even just try setting a timer for every hour or two, and then do just a 3 to 5 minute movement break. Or if you have some kind of fitness tracker, try adjusting the settings so that it will send you movement reminders. I have an Aura ring, and if I have it set where if I haven't moved in the last 50 minutes, then it will send me a reminder that it's time for me to move my body. And I really like this because it takes the guesswork out for me. And if I do have a time where it's not often, I'm usually on my feet most of the day anyway, but if there's a time where I have just been sitting more, I like the fact that it will remind me, hey, it's time for you to move. And I'm not having to mess with timers or things like that. But if you don't have that, you could always go the timer route. Okay, number 4, balance your blood sugar. This has been such a big piece of increasing my energy levels and mainly avoiding energy crashes. As someone who goes all day and who often doesn't think about food, I am pretty bad about skipping meals. And then I will crash because of that. And what I finally had to realize was that the energy crashes were coming from me not fueling my body and then also blood sugar swings. And I was doing a really poor job of nourishing my body and then also just keeping my blood sugar balanced by making sure I was having good, consistent meals. So how are you going to keep your blood sugar balanced? What works best for me is to focus on meals. I typically try to I don't really do a lot of snacks personally, but I try to focus on protein-heavy meals that also have a good amount of healthy fats and then also fiber to help to stabilize my blood sugar throughout the day. And I do add healthy carbs in here and there, but I don't do them with every single meal. But again, you have to figure out what works best for you and your body. Okay, number 5 is going to be the nervous system reset. So we know stress drains your body and your energy levels faster than almost anything. Using a simple breathing practice or the 5-minute reset routine I talked about in episode 156 can be really, really helpful at calming your nervous system. Again, even if it's just taking 1 to 2 minutes of deep breathing, just intentional deep breathing can make a huge difference in your energy levels, and I find it can really help with mental clarity as well. All right, friends, here is what I want to challenge you to do. Choose one of these natural energy boosters, there were 5 of them, and then commit to practicing them daily for the next 3 days. You don't have to commit to anything other than the next 3 days. And I want to remind you again what they were. They are: start your morning with natural light, hydrate first thing in the morning, that's 16 ounces of water first thing in the morning. Take mini movement breaks. So every hour or 2, you're taking some kind of a 3 to 5 minute movement break. Balance your blood sugar, which is focusing on protein, fats, and fiber during your meals and eating consistently as well. And then the nervous system reset, which again, you can check out on episode 156, or you can just do 1 minute of box breathing or diaphragmatic breathing, something like that. Okay, so if you decide to do this, again, just for the next 3 days, focus on it. And then what I want you to do is, after you've done this, or even in the process of it, whatever works for you, write down how it feels. And this does not have to be that you have to get out a notebook and a pen and journal and all that. If you're not into that, that's okay. If you are, great, go ahead and do it. I personally am not big on journaling just because I am a verbal processor. But if you want to do that, you can do that, or you can just make a quick note in your notes app on your phone, or you could even do a voice memo on your phone. My phone has the voice memo app, and so you could just do a voice recording and just keep up with how do you feel. Notice if you notice any shifts in your energy, in your mood, in your focus, anything like that. And then I just want to remind you again that energy does not have to come from caffeine or supplements or any kind of crazy new fad. Your body actually wants to thrive naturally. So if we can create these gentle, consistent habits, then we can start to notice our energy coming back, even on those really hard days. And it doesn't mean that we won't have times where we have low energy. You know, there are still times when I struggle, and sometimes it's that there's something else going on, or sometimes it's that I've slipped back on some of my habits, and I really have to focus back to be intentional. So we're still going to have those times of struggle. But if we can get to the point where we have more energetic days than not, to me, that is the goal. All right, friend, that is all for this episode. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you back next time. Hey friend, I hope you found today's episode helpful. If you did, would you take a quick minute to share it with another mom who is struggling with chronic health issues? And please leave a review on Apple Podcasts. It means the world to me to know that this podcast is helping you. All right, time for me to tackle the snack request, and remember that a short walk, even if the kids turn it into a race, counts as self-care. Keep chasing those little wins, even when it feels messy. You're making progress. The information shared in this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult your healthcare provider before making any changes to your health routine. This podcast is not intended to treat or diagnose any condition. You are the expert on your body. Listen to it and reach out to a trusted provider for support.